Right guys, so the first thing you probably want to pick up is one of these wiper removal arm kits, available on Amazon, Screwfix. I picked mine up for £8.99. I'll leave a link in the description below. Other than that, the only other thing you'll need to order is these universal wiper link clips that I got from eBay for a few quid. So the first thing you're actually going to want to do is remove that rubber weather strip that can just be pulled off, and this scuttle panel nuts. This is just held down with two nylon nuts, 13mm I think, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. Now I did start removing the scuttle panel and the wipers, totally forgot to hit record on my iPhone. But I'm just going to run over quickly here how I did this. As I said, there's two nylon nuts that go on the driver's side and passenger side. So that's the passenger side there. And then over here is the driver's side. Next up were these two plastic wiper caps, one on each wiper. I used a flat head to remove these. You could probably do this with the bonnet down, but as I said, I started removing everything before I started hitting record. And then from there, you have 13mm hex nuts, again one on each wiper. Now these nuts were a little bit tight, so I gave it a little squish of the old WD-40, and that seemed to have helped. Now our wipers were pretty stiff at this point, so yeah, this tool was quite a handy little thing. I was able to pick it up on the same day. Basically, you look at that knurled knob there, and it's got two sort of arms. You clamp it around sort of the edge of the wiper itself, and then yeah, just kind of catch it on and lock it in, and as you can see I kind of just keep twisting until you kind of hear a bit of a pop. It did take me a couple of attempts to kind of secure it, but yeah, we got there in the end. It was quite an easy enough task. So once that went pop, you were then able to remove the wiper blade. Give it a little once over, give it a little bit of a clean to make sure it was good to go. So same again for the driver's side, just preparing the tool again, getting those little sort of arms, the grippers to kind of latch on to the underside of the wiper, tighten it up, spin it round and wait for the pop. So with the wipers removed, you then just kind of have to give the scuttle panel a little wiggle from both sides. And then from here, you should be able to just move it onto the window. Just give you a bit more room to wrestle the actual motor out itself. So you can see the culprit here, this wiper linkage arm, which actually costs about 35 quid brand new, has a sort of a nylon knuckle that connects to the ball joint. It keeps disconnecting, so it prevents the wiper from working. The arm itself's in pretty good nick. It's the nylon knuckle that's the culprit here. It keeps wearing away. So here's those wiper rod linkage clips or springs. You actually get 2 clips in a pack, so I could actually do both sides, but the passenger side wiper wasn't giving me any jib. So here I'm just removing one single hex nut, which connects the wiper linkage arm unit itself to the bulkhead. You'll also find another nut on the passenger side. Once that's kind of removed, you've then got this black harness that should just unclip. Once that's out of the way, you can just give this a little wiggle and it should come right out. So I actually replaced this wiper linkage 18 months prior. The metal arm itself is fine, but that nylon knuckle insert itself is surprisingly pretty worn out after 18 months. And as I say, I think it's quite a common problem. So inside we go. I just give it a good clean up, remove all the dirt and the grime from it. And then from here I actually used a little bit of Vaseline because I kind of ran out of my all-purpose sort of molly grease. Just applying a couple of dabs on the actual joint itself and then into the actual nylon knuckle. Now you can actually buy replacement nylon knuckles and try and pop that old one out into the linkage arm. But there's a bit more effort involved kind of removing it and putting a new one in. So I think these metal clips are a great solution for this problem and much more cost effective than buying a new set of wiper links. Now it did take a little bit of persuasion, and in the end I just used a little bit of help from my nose pliers, and you'll see the groove kind of slot into the sort of pin and then the ball joint at the bottom. Now that's pretty secure, give it a little wiggle, and that's definitely going nowhere. So back outside we go, ready to fit the unit. And at this point we're about 30 minutes into the repair. So reinstalling the wiper motor is pretty much the reverse of removing it. Before I did this though, I just gave a little clean around the sort of bulkhead and removed a couple of years worth of leaves that had kind of found its way in there. So once that was all nice and clean, it was then time to wrestle this bad boy back into place. It did take a little bit of wiggling, but I kind of just put into one side, wrestled it in for a bit, lowered the other side in, and then you'll see that little red male pin there. It kind of slots into the female end of the wiper motor. Once it was seated again, you just reconnect the wiring harness. These are the two long bolts that are used to secure the wiper motor to the bulkhead, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. So just doing a final check here, making sure the wiring harness is still connected before reinstalling the scuttle panel. Once that's back in position, you then reuse those nylon nuts, one on each side. Careful not to over torque them. Next was just to slide this rubber seal back into place. Next we just had a quick game of guess the wiper, which one was the driver's side, which was the passenger. Slot these back into position. Typically the passenger side is the longest one. Again, just tightening this up by hand before being careful not to over tighten with the ratchet driver. And then finally, the last thing to do is just pop these plastic cover caps back onto the wiper arms themselves before slamming the bonnet shut and giving it a test. And as you can see here, driver side wiper working once again. So hopefully that was helpful. If you found this video useful, please like and subscribe, or leave a comment below. Cheers!